about this. Representative Mike Quigley of Illinois has also been doing a lot of work on this. He's a member of the House Intelligence Committee and joins me right now from Washington. Congressman, thanks for joining me right now. Let me ask you first, is the role of technology in this? I mean, we're talking to a business network and a technology show, and I wonder, the role of technology and the biggest companies in technology, YouTube, Facebook, of course, Twitter, the Russians seem to have figured out how to influence the American electorate, maybe even more than some of our own politicians.
No, obviously they're very good at it. If anyone, they've been doing this for decades in Europe. If anyone imagined they'd stop at our shores, they were being naive. I just read the Facebook ads and watched some of them as well, the Twitter ads as well, and it's clear they were using the most divisive issues they possibly could. The real issue will be, how did they target? And you're absolutely right. The tech community needs to play a role in addressing this, working with the American public.
Well, the tech community sure played a role in making these tools available. What kind of tools are we I understand you guys aren't releasing the ad, but give me, or the ads plural, give me a sense of what those divisive issues were.
I think if you looked at the divisive issues that candidate Trump used, like immigration and race, you would have caught the majority of these ads.
So you're talking about ads that targeted Syrian refugees? Are you talking about things that targeted immigrants coming from Mexico? What are you talking about here?
Well, I think you can grasp what I'm talking about when you talk generally about the issues of race, the divisive points in our country, the issue of immigration and migration, and how the American public was reacting to that. Just remind yourself how candidate Trump used those issues to heat up the American public, and clearly the Russians exploited that at the same time.
Has Facebook done everything you want them to do in terms of giving information to your committee?
I think this is just the first page, turning this information over to us. I think they need to make these public. I think there's a number of stances they need to take immediately to talk about this. One is the acknowledgement that, look, if you take an ad out in the news, the New York Times, or for a candidate, there's some acknowledgement of who paid for that. We can't have this opaqueness. We have to have full transparency and accountability on who's attempting to influence the electorate. Second, where were the preventative measures that at least would have tipped off Facebook and other platforms that these could have been political ads? So there's at least two easy measures in my mind that they can look at, increasing public awareness and understanding who's trying to motivate us.
How far along in this investigation are you guys? Do you have a sense that this is where it was limited to, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, or do you think it went beyond that?
I think there's probably ads out there that we haven't even found. It's quite possible that there's the use of social media right now that has not been uncovered. They simply haven't found it. Look how long it took them to find these ads and make them available to us. So it's clear we were flying blind, and we need their help to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Well, I asked you about Facebook. Let me ask you about Google. Has Google done everything you want them to do to provide information to your committee?
Look, as I said, I think this is just the first step, acknowledging that we have a problem, turning over the information they have. The next steps will be to have a public hearing with the House and the Senate committees to talk about a discussion with the American public. How do we make it more transparent and accountable? How do we make sure that we know who's buying these ads and that they can't be done anonymously anymore?
Well, so I'll put the same question in a different way. You said it's just the first step. That makes it sound like you want Google to take more steps to your committee and that they haven't provided everything you want yet. Am I paraphrasing you right, or am I wrong?
I think what they've turned over is what they've found so far. I don't know what else is out there. I don't know how far along they are, each platform, with their own investigation. What I'm suggesting is, as they find out information and find additional ads, they should turn those over. Right now, the most important thing is that we prevent this in the future and we make the public aware of how this is taking place.
Some of your Republican colleagues in Congress have made the argument that this did not change any votes, that these ads did not influence anyone. Do you believe these ads influenced any voters and changed some votes?
Look, people buy ads for a reason. They are successful in influencing voters. If you're asking me exactly how many, I think that's impossible. But if you take all the circumstances that we've learned about in this investigation so far, coupled with Roger Stone saying Podesta's next in the barrel. You take all this information that we know so far, you begin to question just how much influence the Russians had. Clearly, there was some involvement. In my mind, there is evidence that there was coordination. Will we ever know exactly how much it influenced the American public? Probably not.
We
must find out what they did. We must find out what they did and how to prevent it in the future.
Coordination. Do you believe that or at least are you pursuing an investigation in the direction of expecting there may have been coordination between the Trump campaign and these Russian ads appearing on Facebook and beyond?
Let me just direct you to what we know publicly. Trump Jr. saying and acknowledging, if that's what it is, I love it. And talking about a date that he wants this information, and then he knew that it was dirt on Hillary Clinton, that is at the very least an acknowledgement, an interest, a willingness to coordinate or collude. I'm not sure collude is a legal term. So that's just the public information at this point in time. Look, there's a lot of dots we have to connect, and there's a growing number of dots. What I'm suggesting to the American public, when you ask how long will this investigation take, it is, as the Senate said today, growing in scope. It is so complicated. It's layered. It's textured. Watergate took over a year, and the Democrats were in control of Congress at that time.
Right.
Benghazi was over 2 years, and that was extraordinarily politically motivated. So this is a complicated investigation. It's going to take its time. We're trying our best to coordinate with the Senate and with Mr. Mueller's investigation.
Congressman Mike Quigley, really appreciate your time. Congressman Mike Quigley of the great state of Illinois, thank you very much.
Go Cut.
All right, also out of Washington.